Welcome to another fantastic episode of... That's the first time I've ever ballsed it up. I'll cut this bit out. That is the first time I've ever ballsed it up. Never, ever.
No, keep it on. It's funny.
Unbelievable. Thank you for joining us this week. We hope we added value to your day. Stay tuned and see you next time for another Humberlievable episode. See you next time.
Okay. Welcome to another episode of Humberlievable Property Podcast. So this week we have the owner and editor of Blue Bricks magazine, Sam Cooke. Sam, welcome to the podcast, mate. Thank you for coming on.
No, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be a bit different.
You'll regret it in a few minutes. They all do.
Yeah, I think different's probably the correct terminology. So, Sam, what we do is we'll roll back and sort of understand a bit more about who you are now, and sort of what's bridged that gap. But we actually did a podcast a couple of years ago now, and I think you just took over Blue Bricks, so we'll get into that as well later on in the podcast. And like I say, just to understand from the conversation we had then to where the business is now, and talk us about that growth as well. I think that'd be really interesting and insightful. But just going all the way back then, Sam, can you tell us a bit about yourself? Who was little Sam?
So
That sounds fucking weird. Heidi's head's gone in the gutter.
He likes to do. Hey, sorry, Sam. I always say, if you come on the podcast, Sam likes to go back to Freud and go, so tell me about your childhood.
Yeah.
And it's made it a lot worse.
I was going to say, how far back do you want me to go? Are we going like therapy session deep, or just overreaction to you?
This podcast is an open forum, mate. You can say what you want. Let's go back. What did you want to do when you was in school? And did you think you was going to be only an editor of the magazine? And what happened between that?
The answer is no. I never thought I'd be the owner and editor of a property magazine. At no point was it ever kind of part of the plan. When I was in school, complete bizarre one, what I wanted to be was a vet originally. I studied to be a vet for a little while, doing animal management. And then I kind of got a taste for business and decided that was where I wanted to go. And originally the business I wanted to own was a cocktail bar, which was way before. Yeah, way before.
Yeah, we could be recording this in a completely different location.
Oh, can you do that next?
Completely different. There's still time. Maybe one day. Blue Bricks cocktails.
Still time.
Oh. Yes, we should discuss this. This would be really cool, and like themed cocktails. Editor's choice. Anyway, carry on.
Editor's choice, good one. Yeah, I might use that one if I open up a cocktail bar. Thanks, Heidi. I'll compliment you for that. But yeah, so I wanted to run a cocktail bar. That was the first thing I wanted to do in business. I think I was about 16 when that became an idea. And long story short, I normally don't talk about that bit on podcasts and stuff. I jump straight into the bit that people find interesting, which is I ended up being a stand-up comedian when I was 19 years old, and I was a stand-up comedian for a year alongside my full-time job, touring up and down the country. I performed in front of a couple of hundred people. And that was the first time in my life I'd pursued something that I wanted to do as a career. A lot of the time before then, I ended up in jobs just because I was offered them. It looked like a good opportunity. There was no clear direction. And from there, long story short, I started looking into property, started looking into business. I was being a comedian. I loved being a comedian, but that kind of passion for business was still at the back of my mind. And I just started researching it, looking into it. Originally, I was looking up the really stupid stuff that everyone looks at, like get rich quick, how do you become a millionaire, all the sort of stuff. As you can imagine, a lot of the weekend courses came up and a lot of different investment strategies. And one of the ones that kept coming up was property. And I just loved the idea of property because when I was looking at things like crypto and Forex, property was the only one that was tangible and real. You could invest in it and touch it and walk around it. And that just seemed so exciting to me. And then I kind of fell in love with it from there. And fast forward through COVID and lots of other bits, I was an estate agent. That's how I got into property, set up a sourcing business, and then eventually ended up working full-time as a marketing manager for Blue Bricks magazine alongside running my sourcing business. And I started working for Blue Bricks magazine in 2021. And in, I think it was April or May 2022, I then bought Blue Bricks magazine off my managers at the time. And that kind of brings us up to where we did our first podcast, Dan, because I think it was around about that time when I met you.
Yeah, I think you'd literally not long took it over, actually, or acquired it. So, yeah, good couple of years ago now. I can't believe how quickly time's gone, to be fair.
I remember I met you, Sam, at a networking event. It might have been Paul Tinker's, maybe? And you told me slyly that you'd bought Blue Bricks, and I was like, oh my God. And I was like fangirling over it and everything. It's cool.
That's why you're on this podcast, Sam, because she's been fangirling since.
No, it's because I saw him at an award ceremony and he was drunk, and I thought, he'll be a good laugh. Get him on.
Yeah, that was a HMO, wasn't it?
He was trying to accost me to go out on a night out in Buckingham, and I was like, but is it a good place to go for a night out? It's not very vibrant.
You know what? I tried to round up a few troops, and I did end up in Milton Keynes, not Buckingham, and it was interesting.
Interesting. I went to bed. I was good, actually. But anyway, we digress. Blue Bricks. This is what. I do apologise.
Sorry, slightly tall.
So, how did it come about then, acquiring Blue Bricks? What made you buy it, and how was you approached, or how did you approach the acquisition or the idea of it?
Yeah, it was an interesting one because Nathan, who was the previous owner of Blue Bricks with a lady called Caroline Monks, who you might know, Heidi. I don't know if you do, Dan. She's fairly local. It was Nathan who approached me and said, "Look, I'm looking to sell Blue Bricks. I know that you've obviously worked with and for Blue Bricks, and you're very passionate about the business, and I know that you basically want to pursue," because Nathan was like my inspiration. Basically, I wanted to follow in his footsteps, and he said, "I know you want to follow in my footsteps, so we're looking to sell Blue Bricks. We can't think of a better person to kind of take it over than you. Would you like to take it over?" And this conversation happened over a pint. I wasn't expecting it at all. There wasn't any kind of build up, and it took me back. It took me back when I asked, and then I just thought it's an opportunity I can't pass up on. It's an incredible opportunity, and I love the business, and I was just honoured really to have the opportunity to carry it forward.
Fantastic. So talk to me about what it was like then versus what it's like now, and what have you done between, then and now to grow and scale, and have there been different strategies you've implemented? Have you tried taking it in another direction?
Yeah, then versus now. Looking back at it, completely different. I think the biggest difference was when I first bought Blue Bricks, outside of the north and the northeast, it was very much like Blue Bricks who's Blue Bricks, not heard you before. And now, fast forward to today with the Blue Bricks Awards, which I'm sure we'll talk about shortly, and everything else that I've done, most people that I meet have heard of Blue Bricks, and it makes doing things easier, forming partnerships, reaching out to people, onboarding advertising clients is so much easier than it was because we've got that following and that social proof and that credibility. So that's the biggest difference. In terms of the strategies used to grow the business, predominantly partnerships, partnering with the right people, making sure we get the right people in the magazine, forming a clear message on what the business stands for, which is ethical investing, doing the right thing. We believe in honesty, always providing the truth about property investment. Sometimes that includes the good, the bad, and the ugly. And trying to think what other strategies now. We've tried loads of different marketing strategies. Some have worked really well, others haven't worked so well at all. But that's just part of the parcel, really.
It's marketing, isn't it? Stephen, I remember Stephen Bartlett saying that because people come to him and say, "Oh, is it going to work? Is it going to work?" And he said, "You never ever know if it's going to work. You just either get a feeling or you just have to pull it out and try. The only way you know is if you pull it out." And I guess that probably falls down to that as well with yourself.
100%. That's the thing. Like I've tried all kinds of different marketing tactics, sponsoring events, Facebook adverts, social media, email campaigns, even looking at doing some direct mail. Like you name it, I've tried it. And I think you've got to do that just to see what works.
Are you currently doing different strategies still, or have you found like a couple that do work better for you?
I found a few that do work well for me, like one or two. And then there's some other ones that I'm kind of playing around with at the moment, looking at building out a more in-depth marketing funnel that's a bit gentler. I think where I've gone wrong before, and it can be forgiven because it's a lower order value product, is going straight from this is Blue Bricks, subscribe to the magazine. And what my current focus is at the moment is building out a little bit of a funnel that kind of softly gives people the value, shows them why they should be a subscriber, and then hopefully converts them.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Sounds good. And I I've read various magazines or various issues. That's the word I was looking for. Issues of the magazines, and it's good because, like you say, you get the good, the bad, the ugly. It's not all fluffy bullshit or upselling or courses. Yeah, you've got sponsorships and partnerships in there. Sorry.
Yeah.
But that's how you get your revenue, or one of your streams of revenue. You need them partnerships, but you're also advertising them businesses, so you're providing a service for these partners, whilst they're also providing you a revenue stream. So talk to me about what you're trying to look to do over maybe the next 12 months. What's the sort of growth plan? And this ain't a Dragon's Den interview, by the way. I don't know if I'm going down this route, but
probably a Freud
it's fine. Yeah, more for psychology one. I've got to be careful what I say because we'll be launching a few new products, and that's not public information yet, so I can't talk about that. But that's super exciting. But I'll talk. Can
we get an exclusive on here, though? Can we get? Is there anything that you can say that we could get an exclusive?
It's too early. I can give an exclusive into one thing. So we're going to be doing kind of hammering down a little bit more on the events that we do. Starting with quarterly events that are a little bit bigger and more national. So having events that are more Midlands focused that everyone can get to quite easily. And these events are going to be focused around building relationships. So we're going to do things, for example, like the first one we're looking at is a supercar experience. So driving a Ferrari around a racetrack, and then having, some networking mixed in with that. So while some people are on the racetrack, people are networking, chatting. And then we're going to bring in quite a well-known name within the property industry who's going to do some business strategy over dinner. So there's going to be about 30 to 50 of us. We're going to sit down over dinner and we're going to have more of a roundtable mastermind deep dive into everyone's businesses as opposed to just a keynote of some general stuff. So supercars and property, you can't really go wrong with that combination, I don't think.
All the things people want to own, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And the kind of method behind that is it's fun. It builds on the relationships. I think when you're networking and you're at an event and it's like, what do you do? Where are you from? I think when you do something together, you really build a relationship, which is what we want from networking. And then by adding in that keynote person who's going to come and help people with the businesses, you get that value too, which kind of justifies it being a tax expense, so to speak.
Yeah, certainly. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, thanks for the exclusive.
That's fine. You can have that one. I'll let you have that one.
Wait, thank you. It's probably dropped it in a few of them, no joke.
Yeah. I think I told Athena that one, actually. We'll see who publishes the podcast first.
Yeah. We'll get this one out first thing tomorrow then, yeah?
Bang. No, that's awesome. Thank you. It sounds good, to be fair. Like, me and Dan was going to do a Northern property piss-up.
We are still doing it. I was literally, while Sam was talking there, I was just thinking about the date. I'm just trying to think. It'll have to be early August or late July, because the only other time it'd have to be in September, and that's quite far away.
Exactly. So our agenda for that, Sam, is just to get drunk, basically. So yours sounds really tax deductible. I like it. We should maybe do something similar.
I mean, the itinerary on yours sounds straightforward. How far north do you have to be to join the piss-up?
Well, where you hold your events, not the same bar, but in Leeds. Do you know?
Leeds, right? Okay. So
Leeds or York?
Leeds or York?
Yeah, I'll talk to you about it separately because we've had somebody who's willing to do a WhatsApp group for us because I don't like doing stuff. So yes, you're coming, Sam. Leeds or York, we'll let you know.
Well. Yeah, what we should have done is actually issued a lead magnet. Like, we're talking to a marketing guy here, like using Jotform or something like that. Or even a WhatsApp group, to be fair. Get people to join it who's interested in the piss up, capture all their leads, put them on a mailing list, as well as being able to send out all the other details, isn't it?
And get them to subscribe to Blue Bricks as well. This could be like a joint venture. What's Sam? Sam, what's your day-to-day look like? Are you predominantly doing strategy? Are you doing marketing? Are you doing a bit of both?
It's a good question, that, because now that the awards is finished, my day-to-day has changed massively, to the point I'm kind of sat there like, I don't know what to do with my life anymore. You know, it depends with what I'm doing. A lot of it, because the magazine's bi-monthly, I get like a really busy 2 weeks, which I'm in the middle of right now, and that's when we're putting the next issue together, interviewing people, writing articles, proofreading articles. But when that's kind of out of the way, a lot of my role is just sponsoring events, going to events, speaking at events, business development, strategy, meeting people, speaking with clients, sometimes being interviewed for podcasts. It's quite fun. I meet a lot of people. I get to go all over the place. Like, I'm in Essex on Friday. I've never been to Essex before.
There's not much there,
yeah.
to be fair.
It's varied, isn't it? I only know the only way is Essex. I don't know if it's anything like that.
Are you going out in Essex, are you?
No, I'm just sponsoring a show.
Oh, cool. No, I mean, I slag off Essex. I've only been out there a couple of times. I'm from the other side of the bridge, so there's that rivalry.
I'm just picturing like Fate Tan and Joey Essex. That's like the only thing I've seen about it. So I don't know what's going to be there.
Probably exactly how you described, or what you described.
Always on the wrong side of the bridge. Is on the wrong side of this one as well. Hey. The Humber Bridge, if you don't know what I'm on about, people. Yeah, it probably is like that down south. But your day-to-day sounds awesome. Do you ever do things in advance? I know you have like a busy 2 week. I like structure, see, I'm a bit structury. Do you ever like do things in advance and like go, right, I'm going to interview 5 people, 10 people and get them in advance, or you just have a busy 2 weeks?
I have like a very chaotic mind, and I'm not a very structured or organized person sometimes. That's like one of my weaknesses. Yeah, well, I'm glad it's not just me. That's one of my weaknesses. So I'm actually in the process of creating a weekly structure now, so like Finance Fridays, for example, and every day's got a set thing. And that I'm starting that this week. It's already been helpful.
I'm doing a talk at Property and Poppadoms event on Wednesday, and it's basically my talk is basically how to structure your week. It's like porn for me. That I bloody love it.
The thing is, for me, like, I know you need structure, and don't get me wrong, my work calendar, I know what time I'm leaving. I'm very punctual, in terms of that.
Yeah.
But when we talk about structure, like, I'm similar to you, Sam. I like talking to people, networking, negotiating, salesy stuff. That's like my strengths, and that's my ability. To then do the administrative shit behind it in terms of structuring and like, this time I've got to do this. I like just being, spontaneous in conversations and doing stuff like that. So I find it really hard to be fully structured and be like, right, Friday at this time I'm doing this, Friday at this time I'm doing this, Monday at this. Blags my head.
I'm starting to do it more now, because one of obviously all the people I've interviewed, and I've interviewed some fantastic people, like one of the biggest pieces of advice that comes back repeatedly is always do business development, prioritize business development. James Sinclair said spend 80% of your time developing your business. So I'm trying to create the structure so that I make sure I've got the time where I'm developing the business and, working on the business rather than working in it, because it's really easy to just get caught up in the admin.
So I've got a couple of questions for you then, just on them points. So I've worked in sales for close to 10 years now, so in various different roles. So in terms of your business development, and there's no right or wrong answer, how is the business set up? So you generate your leads. What happens after them leads come in? And is it you doing it? Do you have a team of telesales, inbound, outbound?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, because realistically, I've got 2 customers. I've got number 1, which is my advertiser, and number 2, which is my readers. So I'm constantly kind of trying to develop both sides of the business at the same time. And both customers have different needs and wants and a completely different demographics. So with advertisers, a lot of those, we might connect through LinkedIn, or I meet them through other media platforms, or quite often I am referred to people. I get a lot of very good results from my advertisers. I make sure I get them results, and that's got me a good reputation, which is great. And when it comes to developing the business for subscribers, a lot of that is going to events, meeting people, being on podcasts, getting yourself out there, so to speak, just being present, being known, and trying to help people where I can.
Okay, fantastic. Now, I was just curious about it because I just, I don't know why, I just got images of like, you've got your advertisers or your partners and you've got your subscribers. So if someone comes onto the website and fills in the details or, don't fully subscribe and pay, you've got someone there following up a week later or a couple of days later. Hi, I saw you into details. What made you not proceed? Is there anything that we could discuss? Can we provide you with a promotional offer for the first few months to get a feel over it? That's how I sort of thought it might have been set up. And then obviously you can focus on the more strategic partnerships.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a bit stronger on the digital arm of the business. I've hired a marketing manager, and that's made it a lot easier to have someone to focus exclusively on that. Because I think data is the way forward. Really, data is power. But the way my brain works, I'm not a very data person. So I've hired someone who can do that bit for me. So those were all great ideas, Dan. You've actually given me some ideas there. Thank you.
Well,
he's touting for a job, that's why.
I'm not touting for a job. Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? So, like I said, I've worked in sales. I'm pitching myself here, I don't know why.
He wants a job.
It's not that one job. So I've worked in sales for a number of years and I've always done really well in the roles. And there's obviously loads of sales methodologies, but what I want to sort of do is tie in my sales experience with property and like with, SMEs as well. So essentially people who come into property, who may not know what questions to ask, how to engage, how to build rapport with estate agents, with landlords, with vendors, with investors, because I've done all of that in, sales-based roles and UK-wide strategic sales-based roles, commercial roles, as well as in property. I can provide a bit of coaching and some conversations around that with people, or business owners who are starting up a business, but they might be an introvert and may not have sales experience, to sort of coach that out of them and give them guidance on how to approach certain situations, whether it's procurement, whether it's safety, whether it's this. So that was the reason why I was just asking, and I'm trying to get an understanding of what it is you're doing. And that's not me pitching, saying, Sam, let's have a conversation. I'm just curious because I want to go down that route.
Yes, I see what you mean. I think what you're teaching is something that would be extremely valuable for a lot of people, because sales skills is something that's not really taught. And I'm someone who's an introvert. I was actually having this conversation with someone on Friday. So for me, my way of selling, I've never been very good at the whole. So what is it? So how are we proceeding? The open-ended questions, that kind. It's just not been me. My way of quote unquote selling is just having a conversation with someone, and if it looks like we can do something together, we will. Exactly. Soft sell, so to speak. So yeah, I think that would be helpful for a lot of people, myself included.
Yeah, and like you said, then you're an introvert, and being an introvert is not a bad thing, because me, who's an extrovert, if I walk into a room full of and I'm stereotyping it, financial introverts, they're going to be, on the back foot. And it's about being able to, how do you build that rapport? How do you have that social and emotional intelligence to fit in that room while still doing the salesy based stuff, while extrapolating information and, but then mirroring's a big part as well. If you've got someone who is, fucking this, fucking that, and you're sitting there completely different, like, you don't have to be like that, but if you mirror a bit of it back, that builds rapport as well. And Rob McFun on our last episode, he talks about it being curious, communicating, and I can't remember the last one. 3 C's. Can you, Heidi?
Pants. No, I'm joking.
Wow.
Without you me into that.
I know, but no, like, obviously there's so many different things, and once you strip it all back, and like you say about the open-ended questions, there's, for those out there who may be interested, look at the spin selling. I don't know. Have you ever come across spin selling?
No.
So
I've never heard of that either.
Okay, so there's a shit ton of methodologies out there in terms of sales, but spin selling is quite a popular one. So basically, spin is an acronym, and it's situation, pain points, impact, and needs, payoff, etc. So basically, you ask situational questions, get answers to that, then go down, what's the pain points? They talk about the pain points. Impacts, what are the impact of them pain points? Because once you start going down into the impact, and not many people delve too much into that, because then what that does, it makes them resonate on how bad the situation they're in or they may be in. You know, for example, it's something like it highlights the pain points, and that they don't often think about what impacts it will do, or if they do, you know, someone else is not discussing, engaging with them and making it resonate or hit home. So it's that, and then the needs is just basically to say, like, if I can help you with this issue, will you do X? You know, and it's just moving it on to the next stage and then going down. That was a really, really poor explanation on Whistle Stop Tour, but it's a really popular methodology. But you just basically work through it.
Heidi, I feel like I've just been spun into offering Dan a job.
That's why I'm working with him. He just like gets you involved, doesn't he?
Sales 101. I didn't even pitch to you.
Yeah.
That's why.
I delivered value. Gave good insight.
We're like, we've brought Sam on the podcast to interview you for a job.
Yeah, we'll do a real life interview. Yeah. See how it's too late in the evening. Fucking, I'll be at work all day. I'm knackered. Not prepared for an interview. But no, like that's just a bit of a tip, and it works in every situation or most situations.
Yeah. You know what? I've written that down while you were saying it, and I think I might try using that to ask those kind of questions.
All right, we're going to do some role
play. I'll go get my police uniform.
Oh God! Right, I'm going to ask a serious question now, which is not like me at all. So, the Blue Bricks Awards, how did that come about, and why did you want to do that?
You know what? I really people ask me questions like this, like, what was it like buying Blue Bricks? And I wish I had some like detailed, inspirational answer about how it came about. But most of these things normally happen over a coffee or a pint as a throwaway idea that just kind of escalates into something more. And the Blue Bricks Awards was it's that same. I was in a meeting with a bit of a mentor of mine and a stakeholder in the business, and he said, "You know what would be really good? You should do some awards." And I said, "You know what? That sounds like a really good idea." And I thought, can't be that difficult. Find a venue, do some marketing, jobs are good. Little did I know. And that was about just under a year ago now that the initial idea sprung. And then it just stemmed from there and grew. And then I found Petforton Castle, which was a beautiful venue. It matched exactly what I was looking for. And the idea about the Ethical Property Awards came about because I was speaking to someone who said, there's not any awards for social housing. And I thought, that's a really good idea. A lot of these awards are in London, which is fine. I'm a northerner, so I was like, it'd be great to have a location that's a bit more central. And a lot of these awards don't necessarily, showcase people that are doing great things. It might not be like the biggest deal in the world, but it's still a deal that's had a massive impact on a community, on their life. So I thought, let's do some awards around ethical investing, not just because it's different, which is one reason I wanted to do it, but because all the legislation that's coming out against landlords and the way that landlords are negatively stereotyped, I thought the best way to kind of fight against that is to showcase the good. It's to kind of turn around and go, but look at all these incredible people that are actually helping communities and actually making a difference and contributing towards social housing and helping local charities. That was the idea behind the awards, kind of using it as a way to boost landlords' reputations. And already some of our award winners have been published in their local newspapers off the back of the awards for the good that they've done. So it is working.
So when you said I don't have a deep answer to that, you totally did.
So I suppose it did, yeah, actually, probably deeper than I thought. But I mean, the way it kind of came about was a throwaway comment that just evolved, really.
No, that's a really nice sort of like awards to have, to be honest, as well, because like some of them are big dick awards, aren't they? Like, oh, look at me, I'm the best person ever, and actually,
that's why I don't get invited.
I know, yeah. Well, I was offended. No offense, Sam, but like I actually house prisoners.
Sorry, that is hollow.
I actually house prisoners, and I've got a stalker in one of mine at the minute. Where's my bloody award?
Hang on, sorry. When you say you house prisoners, these aren't tenants, are they, that you just misnaming?
Yeah, they come out of prison and we chuck them in a HMO.
Right, okay, right, brilliant. And one of them's stalking.
Yeah, one of them had a stalking offence. So, I know. So I'd like to be nominated just for how stressed I am. Not joking.
I mean, jokes aside, that is actually incredible. I didn't realise that you did that. You should have put yourself forward for one, because again, that is the sort of thing that is really good to support, like giving people a second chance.
I get pressed then, Sam, and I'm not into that.
Yeah. Comes HMO awards, but not the Blue Bricks awards. That's how it is, Heidi.
Oh, I was going to say something that I'd put my foot in. I got nominated for a HMO award, a COO award, so I had to go. I went. You didn't nominate me, so I cried.
If I'd known, I would have nominated you, but I didn't. But no, like I said, it was, I didn't go, and I did see a lot of the photos. It looked like a really well put together event. So, for someone who, has taken on a business a couple of years ago, scaled it, diversified, doing the events, it seems like you've got lots of fantastic plans and they're all paying off.
I think so, and I think the way I look at stuff is just the biggest piece of advice I ever got in business, and it was one that it actually took me about a year or two to understand, was from my mentor. It was I won't say his name because he hates me saying that is my mentor, because it's not like a paid thing. But it was one of the most successful men that I've ever met. And I said, I was very young at the time that I asked him this. I said, what is like the secret to success? And because I thought, being young, as we all do at one point, there's this secret. And if we uncover the secret, that's it. We'll be millionaires. That's what everyone, pays some money for. And he said, the secret is just fucking do it. That was it. And
it's the best piece
at
of
the time,
advice you could receive, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And at the time, I was like, I don't get what you mean. I thought he was just kind of brushing me off. And then I realised with the awards and buying Blue Bricks, and I actually said this to him the other day, I'm like, I understand what you mean now. You just do it. Just do the thing that you need to do. Don't let fear get in the way. Just crack on and just do it. And that is the best piece of advice. And that's what I did with the awards. That's what I did buying Blue Bricks. That's what I do with everything. Just do it.
The thing is, it's like doing it for not for yourself, doing it for yourself, because like you think in a box and people expect you to be in that box, but if you go, actually, I just want to fucking do it, then that's a valid reason as well. I was going to give you a tip earlier that I completely forgot about. Do you know the structure of the week?
Yes.
And having at least an hour to reflect in that week. So like you've just said, just fucking do it. You've bought the magazine, you've done the awards, you've got some really great agenda, you've got some really cool people you've interviewed, etc., etc. But I bet you don't think, fucking hell, I've done really well here, and reflect on what you're doing. So like try and have that pause in the week where you go, this is what I've achieved, this is what I'm aiming for, this is what I liked about the week. That sort of thing I think is really important to include.
My one of my worst personality traits, the thing that hurts me the most about me, is that I am guilty of always going, yeah, but I could do it better and I could be better. And the few people that were close to me said that when the awards is done, you have to spend 2 days away and you have to think back on what you've achieved, because we know you and we know that the moment it's done, you're just going to go, so what's the next thing we're doing then? And you need to appreciate it.
Yeah. And you sound modest in, when we say, great event and that, oh yeah, I think I did all right. Like, you're very modest, but clearly you're extremely driven, motivated, ambitious, and successful, because, you're putting these big events together, you're running this magazine, you're growing subscriptions, you're putting events, you're not just a magazine business anymore, you're also an events business, and magazine business is probably not the right terminology for it, but, the listeners will understand what I mean.
Yeah, it's almost spun out of my control in some ways. Like someone said to me the other day, like, we see you as a symbol of what's kind of good in the industry and as someone who's standing at the forefront of change. And I was like, I don't think up until the awards I ever actively was trying to do that, but it's just naturally happened from my own kind of ethics. So yeah, I think the way Blue Bricks is kind of transforming is part plan and also part just organic.
Yeah, it's definitely important, and I think if you've got your values and ethics running through that's like a really strong foundation that'll drive you forward anyway. But did you reflect after that event then and gone, fucking hell, that was ace? Or did you just go, nah, I didn't do that?
Fuck it, now I'm hungover. That was his reflection.
Yeah. It was a bit of both. I went to Scotland for 2 days. I just booked myself a trip to Scotland on my own, because I thought if I stay home friends, family, people I work with are going to be like, we need to go for a beer, we need to celebrate. And I was like, I just need to be alone for a bit. So I went up to Scotland where there's literally no one there, and just reflected. Part of that reflection was just decompressing, and the other part was just going over the pictures, looking at what we'd achieved, being thankful about it. And then I spent some time, it was odd, I spent it in a Chinese restaurant of all places, just with a notepad and pen, just going over the next steps, like what I'm going to do when I get back, what the next kind of thing to focus on is. So that really helps, just those 2 days away.
That's awesome. I'm pleased you did that, because I think that's harder to sometimes take yourself out and go, nah, I need to do this. I think that's actually harder.
Yeah, you're quite big on that reflection and stuff, and I think whilst I'm reflecting on it, I don't think it's something I probably do that often, and like things are just I always find that things are hectic. I think when I was doing the businesses full time, when you're doing your strategy and then you're doing a quarterly review, essentially, I used to do a quarterly review on the business. What have we achieved? Where are we at? What do we need to do going forward, etc. So I think that was a piece of reflection, but probably wouldn't say I did a lot. And maybe it's some. I'll ask you this, Heidi. Do you think that reflecting more will give you more insight into how you can move forward with your business and personal life?
Oh, God, yes. Do you want me to answer that or Sam?
Okay. I said, Heidi, do you think? No, it's directed towards you. And Sam, please share your thoughts on it as well.
I think so, because and I think it changes as well. Like my goals have changed personally several times over. Like I wanted to leave my job, and then I did. And then I wanted to stabilise leaving my job, so I did a different strategy. Now I've achieved almost 1/10 of my long-term goals. It sort of ever changes. But when you come back to reflection, for me, it's that deeper core of why am I doing this? Why am I doing it? Why am I being a twat and running myself into the ground all the time? And reflecting it sort of anchors yourself. And I always come back to wanting to feel peace. I need to feel peace and calm and stable and make sure the kids have been set up for life and I've provided that. So it always brings back that anchor and then it changes. So I think reflection's really important because I'm doing some scary stuff at the minute and I'll put it on the podcast if I achieve it. But once I've achieved it, I probably still won't feel good enough, which is fucking ridiculous. And people
you always want the next step, innit?
Yeah, and people go, oh, you're doing amazing, you've done amazing, I wish I could do that. Oh, you've got this, and this. And it's not good enough because then you compare yourself to other people. But actually, like Sam, for example, your goals are completely different to mine. And I look up to you and go, fucking hell, that's incredible. But I bet you're going, fucking hell, but I haven't done this. So I think reflection's important for your own personal journey. Definitely.
Yeah. I agree. And I think it's so hard now because you're like, you know what, I think I'm doing all right. And then you open the news and there's some like 8-year-old that's made the first million on YouTube. And you're like, are you taking a piss? You know what I mean? Yeah, and I'm like, so I think there are times where you do compare yourself. And I think what I like about you, Heidi, I reckon you're like me. I think you reflect and use it as a positive, but then you'll go out and do the thing you need to do. And I think what I've seen is so many people get caught in the whole feel good of, I'll sit down and do my mindset and my journaling and my reflecting and my gratitudes. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's great if it helps you. But I think if you do that and then you actually move forward with the stuff you need to do, great guns. I think if you just stay stuck in that reflective stage, you've got the positive emotions, but you're not really moving forward.
You're not taking action on it, are they? Yeah. And I think, and I'm glad you said that, Poise, because me and Hardy, like, part of the intro on this is about demystifying the bullshit or whatever. Yeah. But that's what it is. It's like, and like you say, people, I wake up at 5 and I mindset half hour and I journal for 20 minutes and then I reflect and then I meditate. Then I'll take the kids to school and everything's peaceful. There's no arguing. And then I drop them off, go to the gym and I just fine. Yeah, fine. And I'm not against that at all. And if I could and I was structured and I had the time and stuff, I'd probably put a lot more of that into my day because I used to think, this mindset belief is all bullshit. But, it is really key. Mindset is key. So I totally am not negating any of these points. But again, like you say, you can do all that. It's like going on courses. You can go on every single course you want, learn every bit of fucking knowledge in the world. But unless you go out there, knock on doors, or go and speak to an estate agent, or put offers in, nothing's going to change, is it?
I think the key to mindset is just doing it. Like when I was doing stand-up comedy, it must have taken me at least 6 months of wanting to do it, but being so scared of even writing my first comedy set. And then the only thing that worked was just going to the training that I did, getting on stage and having a blast at it.
Did you get heckled a lot?
Sometimes I did. You know what, Hyde? I tell you, I got heckled. Hull, of all places, where you two are from. Hull was an awful place to gig. Horrendous. And I'll tell you another secret that I tell very few people. I have found that in the UK, any city that begins with a B or a D is normally quite rough. Not all of them, but I've just found majority of the time, if you're in a rough area, it begins with a B or a D.
Nice.
Doncaster, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Learned that from stand-up comedy when I was talking.
That's crazy.
When we did the podcast, Sam, I mentioned to you. So when I turned 30, I did 30 things I want to achieve in my 30s. 32 this year. Done a few of them.
Work with me.
Yeah, one of them was just following Heidi's footsteps. But one of them is stand-up comedy. Yeah. I haven't got round to it yet, so I'll have to reach out to you and get some tips on how I can go about starting. It's only to do the charity 10-minute sketch or something like that. Yeah. I did a charity boxing event earlier in the year, the Ultra White Collar, but I know they do the Ultra comedy as well. So whether that's the right route to go down, or there's a better one, or there's others.
I have a 10-minute talk at the PPN. I'm happy for a 10-minute comedy sketch off you. I fucking love that. That'd be ace.
Yeah, but it's the audience, isn't it? Let's go listen to Property Investing. What the fuck's this cunt doing out here speaking about this stuff? This ain't property. Do you know it's probably not the audience. If you pay 20 quid to go watch someone do stand-up, then you're probably more in that I'm ready to laugh mood.
Yeah, I'll give him a discount. We'll sort it out anyway.
God, I don't know what being roped into.
That sounds good. Yeah, but honestly, I'm happy helping anyway. And everything I've done, I think the thing I still use most today from my past is stand-up comedy. I use it every week still in what I do.
I imagine it's quite a scary thing to do. So you doing stuff now is probably less scary, actually.
I think it's that. And I think you learn how to break the ice. You learn how to... Stand-up comedy teaches you to be very self-aware, because if you don't notice something about you, you know that the audience will. So it teaches you to be extremely self-aware, how to break the ice, and public speaking. It helped with public speaking. When I do keynote presentations now, people go, "Oh wow, are you a professional speaker?" And I go, "No, I just stand-up comedy. Taught me how to do it."
Do you put jokes in your public speaking?
Yeah. Sometimes probably darker than I should. So, but yeah, they slip out.
I need to book you in for my event again, because that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's good that. It's when you talk about stand-up comedy as well, I think that you have to be so intelligent, and people say sarcasm is a form of wit and stuff, but to be extremely funny, I think you need to be extremely witty as well, and that comes from a place of intelligence. And when you watch these, top comedians, how quick they are off the cuff because of their wit, I just think it's absolutely amazing. I love stand-up comedy. I watch them all. I've seen Al Murray live. That was an interesting experience. Jack Whitehall. I want to go see Mickey Flanagan. All of these top comedians. Jim Jeffries, he's dark. I don't know if you've ever seen him. I just think it's absolutely incredible. And when you watch it, who's like Peter Kay, brilliant. But it all comes from a place of intelligence, doesn't it?
I think so. Because, like I say, it makes you self-aware, but it makes you really aware of what's around you too. Like when you're a comedian, you're always looking for material. You're always looking for something that's funny. I used to have notes on my phone just full of jokes and potential jokes. But you end up looking at the world and analysing it. And I think that's helped me quite a lot in business. You're always looking at the industry, looking at things, looking at people, and you think about it in quite a deep way, quite an observational way. And I think that's what's helped me to sometimes create things that people need, or that are a little bit different to what other people are doing.
No, I totally agree with you. I think, like I say, there's so many lenses you can put on to view the world, and it's how you view that can, God, I sound so fucking stoic, but it's how it can pave your future. Do you know what I mean? And interestingly, there's an experiment that Derren Brown did years ago, and I remember watching it. And it was a bloke who had a negative mindset. Oh, this fucking world's against me. This don't happen. Blah blah blah. And Derren Brown set up an experiment where he actually, it was a whole street, whatever, but they rigged absolutely everything. So, for example, one of the things was like, I'll never find money. I'm poor. Blah blah. He'd walk with his head down, and they would literally pull like a fiver across in front of him as he's walking. But because of his like negative mindset and all this sort of stuff, and looking down, he just wouldn't see it. And then there was other things going on around him that they were all opportunities if he engaged in them, but he never took any of it because of his negative mindset. And I think it comes down to the fact that if you have that positive mindset, that positive outlook, you see things positively and you see opportunities. And then once you see the opportunities, you're probably more confident to go ahead. So that's why I believe like mindset is key.
Yeah, I do completely agree. Like the law of attraction, I'm on the fence with that, on if it's a spiritual thing, or if it is something to do with that mindset, where if you have got that mindset for looking for something and a positive mindset, I do think you notice opportunity, and I think you're quicker to act on opportunity too. So I think it plays a huge part in everything that you do. But I think mindset's like this really generic word that I don't like. Like, what is mindset? What do you mean by a positive mindset? I think mindset is just cracking on and doing the thing you need to do. I think how you feel about it while you do it is in some degree irrelevant, because I think doing the thing that you're scared of is the only thing that will give you that strong mindset.
Yeah, it's the attitude and the aptitude to do something, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Perfect. So listen, Sam, you've given us an exclusive, so thanks for that. But what can you talk about? What's the next 5 years look like for Big Sam? I use Little Sam at the beginning of the podcast. What's Big Sam doing?
Yeah. Cheers.
And in 20 years' time, we'll do a podcast and you'll be old Sam. That's it. We'll get all 3 chapters.
I don't know what I can say, because I'm a big believer in not talking about something till it's done. I prefer to just do something and then talk about it, because a lot of stuff can change. What's next in the next 5 years? What I can say is more of the same. Obviously, it's a business looking to continuously grow. Obviously, revenue, income, like all businesses, but the subscription base. I really want to create a national community of property investors. I want to bring more people together, I don't want to call them events, because events sounds boring. I want to create places where us investors can come together and have fun and build relationships, and then hopefully in some way use that to make a really positive difference, not just in the lives of my readers, but maybe we can do stuff to change the industry for the better too. Like, for example, with the awards, we're in newspapers trying to showcase to communities that landlords aren't bad. We partnered up with Change Your Head, a charity that help homelessness and mental health, and we use the awards to give them a platform as well. So I'm hoping that everything Blue Bricks does, growing as a business, running these events and new products we're going to launch, is in some way going to link back to that.
Oh, brilliant.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely. And I think you've held your core values and your beliefs and your ethics within that. And I think that's probably why it's been so successful, because you haven't steered away from that. And everyone understands what your vision, mission, and objectives are. And then that's why you're getting these charities and the social housing and local newspapers, because people are seeing the efforts that you're putting in, and you are disrupting the market, and you're making people perceive landlords as positive as opposed to the constant negative that you see in the everyday media.
Exactly. And I mean, when people say I'm not doing it for the money, and you think, yeah, jog on, I know you're not. Like with me, obviously every business, we're operating for money. We're not doing it for the good of our own health, because it's stressful. It eats up our time. We don't see our friends. We don't see our family. We're all looking to make some money from it. But with me, I'm more motivated by impact, and I genuinely mean impact and making a difference and helping people, than I am loads of money. If we make money doing that, then fantastic. But what's important to me is making a positive difference. And I think because of pursuing that, the rest has just fallen into place behind it.
Brilliant.
Definitely. Have you heard of the Japanese ikigai?
Yes, I have, yeah.
That is your ikigai. I like it.
That's very, very profound.
But just remind me.
It's basically your purpose, your sense of purpose. Getting up in the morning. Mooning. It's a weird accent. Yeah, getting up in the morning. What's your sense of purpose?
Just getting out of the house.
That's a terrible sense of purpose. What drives you in the morning to get up?
I actually, at the moment, really love my job, and I love sales. I love meeting new people. I love talking to people, and I love doing the property stuff, sourcing. Again, sourcing. The reason I like it is because it's, like I say, it's sales, isn't it?
Yeah.
Negotiating. It's the marketing and sales, essentially the same.
What's your guy do?
So I worked in the homeless sector for 14 years, and I'm quite. I haven't told anyone this, but I give to a food bank every month, and I have done for about 9 years. I haven't ever told anyone that, and it's basically making sure people are housed and fed. So I went into property because working for the charity wasn't helping people fast enough, and I thought I could do it myself, and I have done. So I've even given tenants jobs and stuff. So I had a vision. I had a vision about 15 years ago to start a housing association, house ex-prisoners, and give them jobs. And I've kind of done that in a roundabout way. So that keeps me up in the morning, gets me up.
Brilliant.
Sold the house in Christ. Deep, that wasn't it? Very deep.
No, that's incredible. I think that's brilliant.
It's just one thing. On your slide on the Humber side, I nearly heckled you, but I didn't because I'm respectful.
Me? Or
yeah, no, you.
Me?
Yeah, on your slide it said homeless expert.
Yeah.
And I know you're an expert in like homelessness and stuff, but I just thought I could make a joke about you just being an expert at being homeless.
All right, get it.
Yeah, a homeless expert. Yeah, I saw it. I was like, might have to tweet that.
Definitely heckle me. I don't know if I'm much of an expert now. So I used to work for Shelter, and I've been on podcasts and all sorts because I was like, I've done webinars as like a national housing expert. So I'm not sure if I'm the person anymore, but yeah, I've done it.
Well, you've lived and breathed it. You've still got the experience, isn't it? That.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Exactly.
I don't tell anyone anymore because people then go, "Can you help me?" And I'm like, "Oh God."
If you go on the Shelter website, they've got lots of information on there. Just direct them there.
To be fair, yeah, but they don't do a lot of the prisoner stuff and the really niche stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Brill. So, Sam, thank you for coming on. We're come to a bit of a close now. So, it's been good to catch up with you after a couple of years. For anyone listening, get to the events. I mean, I haven't been to loads of them. I went to that one in Leeds. That was brilliant. Filled out room, great guest speakers, and I'm sure they've only, got sincerely a lot better since then. And that was a really good event itself. So, a great opportunity to network, meet lots of fantastic people. And, like you say, you're going to be doing some quarterly events soon. So where can people find all this information when it's all released?
Yeah, so www.bluebricksmagazine.com, or you can follow my LinkedIn. I'm quite active on there, which is Sam Cooke with an E. I'm trying to think of, other than that, the Blue Bricks Magazine Instagram is quite active too, which is at Blue Bricks Magazine.
Fantastic.
We do a little charity shout out.
Yeah, you know what? I think that wraps it up perfectly, Heidi, because my charity shout out is Change Your Head. They are a charity for homelessness and mental health issues. What I love about Change Your Head, fantastic story. The guy who set it up was a property investor, a very accomplished, successful property investor who lost everything, was basically made homeless, and off the back of that, set up this charity to help other people. So he's just an incredible human being that's making such a positive impact.
That's awesome. Where's he? Is he based nationally? Is it locally? Where's he based?
He's from the south, and you know what I'm like, Heidi, because I'm a northerner, so anything sort of south of Manchester is just London.
Careful what you say, guys.
So yeah,
careful what you say.
but yeah, my map is basically Leeds, Manchester, Midlands, London, Cornwall. But yeah, from the south.
Yeah. South. We'll find him. I love that. It's true though.
We'll put the details in the show notes as well. So if people are listening, we'll put the details to your magazine and that, and like I say, people can get on and subscribe. And then what we'll do is put the details for Change Your Head as well. Because I tell you what, Sam, why don't you make an introduction and we can get him on the podcast or her?
That's a good idea. I like that.
That would be an interesting one with your two's personality type, because he's quite a soft-spoken, well-mannered gentleman, and you two are... I don't want to say that you're not that, but I'd say maybe a little bit more brash.
Do you know what it is? I can change for the audience. Well, we both can. Like, don't get me wrong. It's because it's you. Don't take that the wrong way. It's more of a compliment. But if we had, someone else, we could and would tone it down.
Do you want to know a fun fact? So there's a prison podcast, and it goes out to all the prisons, and you can find it on YouTube. And I was the very first person on that podcast that got interviewed, and I didn't swear once.
Imagine that, you're in prison, you're in there for 15 years, and then you've got Heidi coming on over the radio. When you think it can't get much worse.
Well, if you've seen that video spiraling around from Wandsworth, I bet people want to be in prison right now.
Yeah. I haven't seen that.
Dan.
Sorry. I'll cut that bit out. No, I won't really. It'll stay in.
Yeah.
But yeah, mental, isn't it? Not that I've seen the video, I've just seen the articles online.
Yeah, someone sent the article to me, that's how I know about it.
Mental,
oddly enough, the person that sent it to me was a prison officer, and I've always been intrigued into what being a prison officer is like, so they sent me that link, like, this is crazy. But anyway, thank you both for the podcast. It's been an experience.
Yeah, hopefully a positive one. No, we like to just listen. This is how we are. Like, we just like to have a bit of a laugh with it, have a bit of a joke, but at the same time, there's serious sentiments and messages that we want to convey to the audience. So, I think that's a good way we can sum it up.
I think it works well, because like the reason we get along so well, I think you two are just incredibly authentic, and I love that, because there's not enough of it. Like, you guys are just you, and that's just brilliant. I think that's amazing, rather than trying to be someone else.
We haven't been arrested yet, so positive.
It's still time.
Yeah.
That's why we do it online. That's why
exactly. if we did it at a pub, who knows what hell could break loose. But
yes, thank you for coming on and putting up with us.
And we'll post all the details, and we'll try and get the guy from Change Your Head on and help share his message and mission.
Brilliant. Thank you for that.
Cheers, Sam.
Unbelievable! Are you looking for a no-nonsense property and business podcast? Our mission is to provide jam-packed content straight to your ears, where we can add value and unpick the fluff in the industry. If this sounds like a bit of you, then strap in and hold tight for an episode with Heidi and Dan.